Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Conversation Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Inside the Courtroom, the Future of Arbitration and Litigation. We have with us Nitin Gupta, a distinguished lawyer, arbitrator, and the managing partner of a law firm, the Law Chambers. With an illustrious career spanning over 2 decades, Nitin has been at the forefront of corporate law, commercial litigation, and arbitration, representing national and international clients in complex legal disputes across India. His vast expertise in arbitration has led to empanelments with prestigious institutions like DIAC, MCIA, CIAC, ICA, BIMACC, Honorable Karnataka High Court, GCCI, and others, making him a key figure in India's evolving dispute resolution landscape. Join us as we dive deep into the conversation about legal advocacy, future of arbitration, and his personal journey. So, welcome, Nitin, to today's coffee conversation.
Thank you, Aman.
So, let me explain you the flow and the format.
Sure.
There are 3 rounds: professional journey round, personal journey round, and a surprise, the rapid fire round, for which you have to be witty, fun, and quick. And here's a gift: Legal AI 101.
I hope I'm with you.
Yeah, I have authored it and it will be autographed and sent to you. But you have to first
Great.
crack the rapid fire round.
Sure.
Okay. Friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation and legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution. We help law firms, corporate legal, startup SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So my first question, Nitin, what inspired you to pursue law, litigation, arbitration, and corporate law? And was there a defining moment that solidified your passion for the field?
Well, in all fairness, I'd never wanted to pursue law. So to begin with, that was never the idea that I should become a lawyer. But yes, once I started working, I started enjoying it a lot. My mentors were so great that they made me realize that there is nothing better than being a lawyer.
Wow. So, Nitin, you have handled both domestic and international arbitration cases. What are the key differences in approach when dealing with global versus Indian disputes?
You see, insofar as Indian disputes are concerned, and when it involves mostly, if it is an institutional arbitration in India, then it is a different situation. If it is an ad hoc situation where ad hoc some lawyer or some expert or some judge is appointed as an arbitrator, then it becomes very, very different. So dividing this into 2 parts, if it is domestic and if it is institutionalized, it can't be better than that. Mostly global are always institutionalized.
Wow.
In fact, you'll be surprised. I met somebody at the Hong Kong International Arbitration Conference, and they said, "What? Judges, courts appoint arbitrators?" I had nothing to say. I was like, okay.
Okay, good. So, Nitin, with increasing reliance on alternative dispute resolution ADR, do you think arbitration is replacing traditional court litigation, or do they complement each other?
See, when I started way back in 2004, arbitration was still picking up. It's not that the Arbitration Act did not exist. There was an Arbitration Act of 1940, which was a very difficult act, because ultimately the finality was very difficult. So even in 2004, the arbitrations were not to the extent which they are now. It was not even known as a field you could venture into. It was just happening just by chance. So arbitration, even now, according to me, will never replace a traditional court litigation, because you still have your Commercial Courts Act. Most of the commercial matters go to arbitration. But yes, the government also is feeling that, arbitration is not up to the mark and they have their reservations. So I don't see that it is ever going to replace. They're definitely going to complement each other.
Wow. So, Nitin, what are some of the biggest challenges in arbitration today, and how can young lawyers prepare themselves for this field?
To say that, the Arbitration Act today is the complete code in the sense that is it at par worldwide? No. If I do not know how much of interest does everybody have, but there's an Arbitration Council of India which was to be formed way back in 2022 or 2019, if I'm not wrong. And that has still not happened. So that's when I give you the example of Hong Kong International Arbitration Center showing me a shock that, judges appointed. I mean, imagine how many high courts we have. We have 25 or more high courts, and every high court has several Section 11 applications for appointment of arbitrator. Vis-a-vis given to one particular institute who deals with it, and the challenge should be limited. So that is one of the biggest challenges. And so far as young lawyers to prepare themselves for this field, please don't hate me for this, young lawyers. Research, 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 work hard.
Beautiful, yes.
There is no substitute. Had there been the substitute, I would have been the first one to take it.
Wow. Okay. So, Nitin, what's your strategy when handling high stakes corporate disputes and ensuring favorable outcomes for your clients?
So, if we talk about corporate disputes, I'll probably just give you an example of an operation and mismanagement, where is a majority fighting a minority or a minority fighting a majority. Just ensure that you are on top of it. You're just sending notices over notices. If a notice is sent to you, filing a reply, and just keep them busy. That's very important. The momentum cannot come to an end. Insofar as high stake matters are concerned, if we don't go by operation mismanagement and we just think of some high stake amount is involved, then you need to file as quickly as possible.
Wow. Yes. So, Nitin, as an empaneled arbitrator with multiple institutions, how do you see arbitration evolving in India compared to global practices?
Let me first compare it to what it was when I started off in 2004. That time, institutions did not exist to the best of my knowledge in India. It was always ad hoc. But yes, I think India had to succumb to it, or India had no choice because it is becoming a global economy. India can no longer be ignored. That is forgiven. So it had to follow the global practices. Institutions had to come. Institutionalization of arbitration has to be done to give it more professional, to add more professionalism to the entire thing. But the only unfortunate part is when the matter reaches the court, post the arbitration. Then it is rocket science to execute it or to challenge it, etc., which may take several years, which is a relatively sad situation.
Wow. So, Nitin, how being part of multiple institutions has helped you in your career?
It is supposed to now. I got empaneled very recently in a couple of the arbitral institutes, but it's very nice to be, mm, going for conferences or maybe speaking at conferences or as attendees to, understand what is the latest which is going on all around the world. Like I told you, Hong Kong was an experience. London wasn't an experience like that, but Hong Kong certainly was an experience. So I hope it helps in my career sooner or later. I am an arbitrator appointed by DIAC in 2-3 matters. I hope I do justice to those matters.
Wow. Okay. So, Nitin, with advancements in legal tech and AI, how do you see the role of technology influencing arbitration and legal practice?
So there are a couple of softwares which are even otherwise available. One is where the cross-examination of a person is happening, it turns into a transcript. There is also, usually like video conferencing is very common in arbitration now. Also, it is getting common in court litigation, but it is more popular there. You can always record it. You can always hear out the arguments later on. But AI helps in conversion of the what you have spoken into words. So that can be really helpful. Apart from that, AI and legal technology also, in case the compilations and the paperwork is massive, and you just need to, you suddenly remember a word and you want to search that this person had said this word, where did the person say that? And you just put it in that software and you're able to find out where all was that where all was that word used.
Yes.
So that is very useful. It's very difficult to read a 10,000 pages brief all the time.
Wow. So, now, Nitin, you have been an advocate for over 20 years. How has corporate law evolved over the last 2 decades, and what trends do you foresee shaping the industry in the next 5 years?
See, the Companies Act changed from 1956 to 2013 in the middle of my career. That made a lot of change. Corporate social responsibility came. The compliances have gone really high compared vis-a-vis earlier. When I started off, sales tax existed. It no longer exists. It's only GST now, which is a good thing according to me, irrespective of the rates which we keep complaining. But otherwise, GST has been good. Competition Act has come. MRTP did not have much teeth, and the like.
Wow. So, Nitin, let's go down memory lanes. Uh, what has been your most challenging arbitration or ADR case, and how did you navigate it?
Now I'll have to think about this. Which one was the most challenging? There was one where there was a lot of guerrilla practice from the other side. Needless to say, I cannot elaborate what the guerrilla
Yeah,
practices
yeah, yeah.
were, but to navigate through that was very, very challenging. A lot of brainstorming, a lot of official, unofficial things happening. So that was very challenging.
Wow. Okay. So,
Needless to say, we are not into guerrilla practices.
it's fine. Okay. Uh, so, how do you mentor your young lawyers at your law firm?
While I can answer that, but I think we'll need another interview to ask them, are they getting mentored? Or they feel it's a torture.
Very well.
I think usually what I do is I do a little bit of spoon feeding for at least a couple of months. And then I start getting harsher and harsher. That, enough spoon feeding, you can't continue to be what you were day one.
Wow. So, Nitin, your firm, the Law Chambers, specializes in corporate, commercial litigation, arbitration, amongst other arenas of law. What are
Yeah.
some of the most pressing legal challenges business face today?
Sometimes the matter is going on beautifully and, you feel that you're definitely going to win this. And suddenly the company goes into insolvency. So you're in the middle of an arbitration and the company has gone into insolvency. Then you are figuring out how to deal with it because a moratorium starts. Or you have won a case, but the execution gets stayed because a moratorium is there. I'm not saying IBC is wrong at all. Please don't get me wrong. But that is very, very challenging. Actually, that's very sad if it goes
Mm.
into insolvency. What's the point of winning a case and then losing at the end?
Okay, good one. So my last question for your professional journey round. What advice would you give to young lawyers aspiring to build a career in arbitration and commercial litigation?
As I had said earlier, I'm not going to repeat that research and work hard. Apart from that, to the best of my knowledge, uh, there were no institutes which were providing you an opportunity to become members and then join their teams. Like there
Mm.
is a lot of like why uh, MCAI or young professional associations are being now formed, and especially in arbitration. So I've encouraged my colleagues at office also that, you should try become members of that. You should try to attend as many conferences as possible, because sitting in office, the gyan is only limited to the gyan which I am giving or the books is providing or at best what the court is coming up with. But sometimes your international practices, your international experience can only come in these conferences or you talk to people.
Wow.
That is very important.
So let's go to the next round and understand Nitin as a person. Tell us about your formative years.
Okay, this was slightly scary, but I'll answer it. So we are a family based out of, well, I was born and brought up in Delhi, and we are a 1925 family of Delhi. So I think we are really fossils. Formative years were interesting. Schooling was Delhi, college was Delhi. Formative years were interesting. Do I miss them? Yeah, I'm old. I do.
No. Okay. So Nitin, legal work can be stressful. What's your go-to method for unwinding or de-stressing?
Truly speaking, you want to de stress? Do not talk to a lawyer. Talk to people from other professions and understand what are their challenges, because your challenges are very boring if you compare it to another lawyer. There are different challenging, so that can be de-stressing. And of course, unwinding, I don't know, am I allowed to say that on this chat? Maybe have a drink or something.
It's fine. Okay. So outside of the courtroom and arbitration hearings, what are some of your hobbies or passions?
Hmm. I think talking to people. I realize the importance of people and how talking to people is so important is in 2020 when COVID hit. I don't know about others, but I was very desperate to physically meet people.
Mhm.
I was getting really tired sitting at home and just watching the screen or whatever it was. It wasn't fun at all. So interacting, meeting with people, chit-chatting. Sometimes you can say something wrong, like I have a foot and mouth disease. I end up saying something wrong. You don't realize it while you're talking. But that's all right. Meet people, do mistakes, learn from your mistakes, learn from them.
Wow. So who has influenced you personally and professionally?
Both personally and professionally, it was my mentor in a law firm called New Delhi Law Offices and the founder partner, Mr. Priya Shankar Das Gupta. I am yet to meet a more brilliant mind and personality. And as I had told you earlier, that law was not a profession which I was really dying to be part of. But looking at him, his charisma, his way of talking, his way of dealing with the clients, and his knowledge really, really influenced me and inspired me. I am what I am because of him and his guidance to me.
Wow. So what's one book or movie that has influenced you and what are the learnings?
There was a very interesting autobiography or biography by Justice Leela Seth.
Mhm.
Are you aware of Justice Leela Seth, or I can give you a slight example? Justice Leela Seth was an acting Chief
Please.
Justice of the Delhi High Court,
Mhm.
and she is the mother of that author, A Suitable Boy, Vikram Seth. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Justice Leela Seth's autobiography was very interesting to the extent that she talked about Indira Gandhi era when she had declared emergency. It was interesting to read that book to see how much of struggle existed at that point of time for women lawyers. She and Justice Ruma Seth, or I don't remember the, not Seth, Ruma Pal. Justice Ruma
Mhm.
Pal finally ended up as a Supreme Court judge. That what was the struggle? I can give you a slight example. She, I think, was with Khetan or company in Calcutta or somewhere, and both Ms. Ruma Pal and Justice Seth were given a case because the partners knew it was a losing brief.
Mhm.
So that was quite sad to see that, there was no faith, or they had a tough life. Unlike today women rule, and they should, rightly so.
Yeah,
Anybody
beautiful.
is good in their work should rule.
Wow. So suppose, Nitin, you have 1 week away from work, away from gadgets, away from all this arbitration hearings. What would you like to do and why?
I've never been away from gadgets for an entire week. But yes, I've
That's what
been
the
away
question
from
is doing.
arbitrations and court cases for a week. Or maybe travel somewhere and unwind. But I'm
Okay.
still not off gadgets.
So, which is that place you given 1 week you would like to go, and why this place?
I have a few friends based out of Turkey, Istanbul, and some other areas, some smaller towns in Turkey. So I think I would like to spend like probably 2 days in Istanbul, which is like any capital anywhere in the world. And then in those towns, because those towns are very interesting.
Yes.
Thankfully,
Very.
language is not a barrier because my friends know English.
Yeah, yeah. See, Turkey, English is very much developed over there. The food, everything, the churches are there, culture. Because I've
Correct.
been seeing a lot of Netflix series and movies. So I've learned a lot about
And it's a
Turkey.
mix of Asia and Europe. So you see the style also. It has an Asian side, and so the European side is relatively very hip and happening vis-a-vis the
Yeah.
Asian side. So it's a mix, quite an interesting place.
Wow. So, Nitin, what are your plans for 2025 personally and professionally?
Mm, to do more work, hopefully be appointed as an arbitrator in a couple of other matters, and I don't know, contribute. I told you this sudden contribution to the society has come into me. So maybe contribute a little bit to the society or in whatever best way I can. Need not be only monetarily.
Wow, beautiful. So, my last one is a googly one. Describe Nitin in one line.
Fabulous.
Wow. So, let's have some fun. The rapid fire round. Your go-to comfort
Yes.
food.
Not dal chawal and all that stuff. That doesn't work for me.
You can see
Maybe some
that.
sabzi and roti.
Okay. Litigation or arbitration, which excites you more?
Litigation.
Wow. Your favorite color?
I don't have a choice but to wear black and white, but I won't call it my favorite. I think gray. Gray.
Wow.
Yeah.
The most underrated skill for a lawyer?
The most underrated skill for a lawyer. When you draft a particular, you draft something and the client comes back to you in 5 minutes, say, I've read it. That's very hurtful. How can you read it in 5 minutes?
Yeah, that is true. You're a morning person or night owl?
I used to be a night owl, but now I'm a morning person.
Wow. Best piece of advice received.
To be part of this interview?
You got
Does
that?
that qualify? Does that qualify?
Seriously, you got this advice from someone.
From you or from your team?
That advice, that was a suggestion.
Best piece of advice in terms of my career?
Yeah, career, personal life, professional life, whatever.
Best piece of advice is please don't be under this misconception that you're a corporate lawyer if you have not done litigation. You have to do a couple of years of litigation to understand what will that contract ultimately lead to.
Wow.
Other than just using fancy jargons, that doesn't work.
Wow. If you could have a dinner with any lawyer, judge, past or present, who would it be?
I don't know if he's going to have dinner with me, but maybe Justice Rohington Fali Nariman.
Wow.
Too brilliant, too brilliant, too brilliant.
Yes. I've been hearing in my coffee conversations. Yeah.
Because I will probably be listening to him. There is no way I can speak up with him. Speak up or continue with the conversation with the speed he can.
Okay. So my last one. Tea or coffee to recharge?
Certainly coffee.
Yeah, let's please. So you did well. And here's your book, your gift.
Oh, it's my lucky day. I will get it. Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah. It will be autographed and sent to you, your place. So, friends, it was a lovely conversation in a humorous way. Accidental lawyer, I'll say, to Nitin. But now he's become more serious and yes, he's given a lot of insights to young lawyers, okay, to become successful in arbitration and ADR. You have to become members of the different association where you get to learn, network, and contribute. So now he's on the journey of contributing, and you want to work at his law firm. Details will be there. Uh, he'll be a little different mentor, but you will understand when you meet him. So, like that, there are 400 plus coffee speakers who have contributed their expertise, professional journey, personal journey, their interesting insights, and have inspired so many people. So, in this 5 years journey, we have built an IP of 400 guest speakers featured. And if you only featured like Nitin and have coffee conversation, so visit our LinkedIn page or our website, the Emerging India Forum, and a team will invite you to have this lovely conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.